Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we talk all things reality TV or whatever. I'm your host, Sparrow. We are joined by our wonderful co-host, Lee. Lee, how you doing, man?
Another amazing rank episode. Damn, I can't talk. I just talked to a fine ass man, y'all.
Goddamn! I'm nervous.
Because if you're watching this video, you must know that we have a Joseph interview, and you have not watched that video yet. You need to go check it out. Yes, we just sat down with the finest man who was ever stepped foot in Big Brother, Joseph Abden. Please go watch that interview. But
There's no competition.
Today we're talking about Amazing Race, and there is no Joseph in Amazing Race, unfortunately. There is a DX, which I am tuned in for, seated very much so every week for. But this is a good episode, the I feel like the whole Mega Leg thing, like I don't know, there was just a lot of it was chaoticness just in general, especially the start of this episode, because it's the continuation of a last episode. I really enjoyed that.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and get into it or whatever. Let me bring them up so y'all can see who the mess we talking about or whatever. So we started off this episode, like Lee said, we were ending off on the first half of the Mega Leg. So we start off this episode at Lumumba and Glinda because they were in last place last episode. So we started off and they're they finished their task and they're finally in last place, headed to the next location, which is Florence, Italy. And as they're driving and as they're getting ready to go, they talk about how everyone has a bad leg. This is just our bad leg. We need to get it rolling and we need to stay. And I like that. They have very positive conversation. Just in general, they're just very positive about the situation. Yeah, which is in contrast,
that's definitely a strategy that people should definitely take. Just staying positive.
Stay positive.
No,
or just don't be negative. I don't know. It's a lot. So after this, we zoom to Michael and Marcus, who are currently in first place, and they have already made it to Florence, and they're kind of in Florence trying to figure out where the next route marker is. We bounce to Molly and Emily, who are currently in second place. They talk about how excited they are because they jumped from 8th place to 2nd place just from this first half of the Mega Leg. And it's like, come on, Queen!
As they should. And
you see where they stand at the end of the episode. If you're watching this visually, you see where they stand at the end of this. So they really ate that up. And they mentioned they were like, the only people we're worried about right now is the brothers, Michael and Marcus, because everybody else, we're ahead of them. I don't know what to tell you. This is when we kind of get a montage of all the teams. They kind of do a little chit-chat shot of how each team is doing. So we first see Aubry and David looking fine as hell. For no reason, just in the car driving like a man should.
We love a navigator.
Then we just get a montage of a bunch of the teams, but the commentary that I feel like I liked a lot was from DX and Claire. They talk about how their confidence kind of took a hit because if you recall, DX and Claire was team number 1. And then they were top 4. And so it's like this time, you see where they ended up. So they were feeling
pretty low, child. The bottom of the pack, child.
Pretty low. And this is where we get our foreshadowing because it jumps to Linton and Sharik. So Sharik talks about how they have been having a good strategy with the roadblocks because with the roadblocks, each person in each team has to complete a certain amount of roadblocks. And she says, so far, my father, Linton, has completed all of the roadblocks. But whichever one is coming up, I'll probably be the one to do it. I just have had a lot of anxiety and I've just been kind of afraid to do one, but it's probably going to be my time coming up.
And I immediately was like, this is foreshadowing. This girl is going to fuck up on this damn roadblock. I just knew it. And unfortunately, it comes to fruition in a very oh, God.
Everything about...
It wasn't fun to watch. It really wasn't.
It wasn't. And from here on out, well, not here just yet, but Linton Sharik's storyline from here on out, it's just... So next we see Dom and Rich. And I have to laugh every time we see them because Rich is driving. And essentially, when Rich is driving, he just lets Dom navigate. And we talked about this last episode. Rich just kind of lets Dom tell him what to do. And he does it as the man, as he should. The fuck? But they're driving and Dom is looking at the signs and she's like, Rich, do you know where we're going? And Rich was like, I'm just going in a general direction. And Dom was like, no, you need to be actually multitasking and actually finding where we need to go. What are you doing?
And he seemed just so okay, I know where I'm going. It's fine.
And do you though? Because
do you? I don't know.
Girl, so we go to Michael and Marcus again, and they finally make it to Largo Eduardo Esperanza.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a gate that they find. They park, they have to get out, and then they have to run through the gate to find the route marker. And that's when they find the route marker. And as they find it, Molly and Emily are pulling up right behind them.
Right on their ass.
And Molly and Emily gagged them a bit because they was like, oh, they just now got here?
Oh.
And it's like, ooh, I know that's right. It's like really interesting, the Molly, Emily, Marcus, Michael thing, because they kind of go back and forth of who's in the lead from here on out, like the whole time.
The main girls.
The main girlies. So we see the roadblock, and the roadblock is called Who Wants a Chisel Body Art? Mm-hmm. Now, I do. If we were here, oh wait, let me tell y'all what it is. So the teams must chisel out a sculpture from this marble block. They're given the tools and they see the sculpture in front of them. That's all. And they know they need to chisel the body out. So
that's all they know.
That's all they know. Going off of this, it's giving Lee would have had to do this because I have done the last roadblock.
And I guess I would have done this one. Honestly, like, and I think what shook people at first, initially, specifically Marcus, and was Molly was the one doing it, or was it Emily?
It was Molly. It was Molly.
Molly doing it. They quickly realized, like, oh, we don't have to actually, chisel a statue. Like, we don't have to be Michelangelo. Mm-hmm. We just have to get the surrounding pieces off of it. So once I saw that, I feel like I would have been confident because that was easy.
Yeah, it was easy.
It seemed like people were taking forever just because they were literally just doing the smallest hits. Like, I would have been like,
yeah, go ahead and get that shit off. That bitch. Go ahead and get that shit off.
If I would have had hella holes, I would have fixed them right on up.
Period. So then we see Luis and Michelle. They make it to the roadblock. So they're in third place. Mm-hmm. Michelle's the one who decides to
we see a lot of switching it up in the leaderboard. I mean, as you can see, the top 4 of the last few rounds are the bottom 3 damn near. So it's leaving a lot of room for people like Abby and Will, Luis and Michelle, Quentin and Maddie, Aubry and David to really like, because it literally did a whole swap instead of the twins and Marcus and Michael.
They stay at the top. I know that's the fuck right. So Linton and Sharik, they make it to the challenge. Sharik decides, this is my chance. I have to go ahead and do the roadblock. So she does the roadblock. And they notice that they've done passed up Aubry and David, the salsa dancers, because the salsa dancers had left before them. So they are doing pretty well. They done passed somebody up. They made it here. Sharik can do her first roadblock. It doesn't seem that hard to me, in my opinion. But we see. So this is where we get a confessional from Marcus. He's chiseling, and he says the hardest thing about chiseling is that when you get into the details, the crevices of the muscle, of the intertwines of the sculpture, it's hard because you might accidentally chip something off. And if you chip something off, you have to recreate it. So that's when it's starting to get
I just want to know who comes up with these Amazing Race challenges for real, because I saw this one, I was like, oh, wow. Like, this is very specific. Literally. Like, and then like the way that they have it like set up, like it's like within the block. I don't know. It was just seemed pretty interesting to me.
It really did. Very, very, very like just not something I would think of out of the box, I would say. Yeah. Like, what is this? Like, what you mean chisel out of? I don't know. So we see that Aubry and David are getting lost.
And it's like one thing Aubry and David gonna do is not know where the fuck they going. Like literally, they do pretty well at the challenges. They just always get lost.
I guess it works for now. Now that it's still like a few teams here.
Girl,
once it gets down to exactly when it gets down to single digits.
Well, we already in top 9. We in single digits after this round, that's so true. It's like it's really starting to get nasty for some of the girls.
They're gonna have to get it together. So we see Will and Abby. They make it to the roadblock. Abby's the one who decides to do the chiseling. I noticed a lot of the girls this time did this roadblock. I'm assuming because it's like, oh, we can just knock this roadblock out, and so when there's a harder one, one of the guys to do or a physical one.
I wonder like, so I guess the audience doesn't get to keep up with that. I wonder like when do they decide that, like behind the scenes, like prior into going, like, or like what's the limit? Like if I had you do, like, who's gonna tell me not to have you do this one? You know what I mean? When does the limit cut off at? Like, who's kind of, I feel like because they don't mention it on the show as a rule, I wonder who is enforcing it, is my thing.
Yeah. Like, when is it, like, how many can each do? Because essentially, from what I understand, let's say there's 10 legs. 5 roadblocks have to be clear. 5 roadblocks have to be DX. And maybe they just know that beforehand. So when they're deciding, Claire's like, well, I have to do 5, so let me just do the motorcycle right now, so that when it gets to the end and we need to really get to going, DX can do it. But I really would like to know too, like, what's the tea about that? So Quentin and Maddie make it to the roadblock. Maddie's the one chiseling. And this is when we see Sharique's strategy. Sharique says her strategy is to break the bottom of the block so that the top of the block can fall. Now, in my opinion, it didn't make sense.
Well, I will say when she first said it, I said, okay, because I don't know how the fuck the fucking structure works. But it don't work like that. It did not work like that. And now that I think about it, like, it's
you thought it was gonna fall?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, now that I really think about it, like,
you would have did that?
Solid block. No, I wouldn't have did that. That wouldn't have been my strategy.
Okay, I just wanted to know. No shade, Sharique, but hey. Okay, Aubry and David have finally found their way. So they finally make it to the roadblock. They're currently in 7th place. Aubry decides to do it. DX and Claire, struggling, y'all. They finally made it. They're in 8th place, and DX decides to do the chisel.
This really the worst they've been doing. Like, this
was doing bad.
Like, this is a bad performance for Team Big Brother.
Technically, Claire just brought them back.
It was Claire, because they was at the top 2 teams. They was right there with Marcus and Michael.
Spinning the rich around. Girl, quit spinning it.
Is it loose? What this do?
What's this called? Like,
Claire hilarious. Claire was so unserious in that challenge.
Because Claire loved the blacks, and I'm black.
Claire
and DX. So next we see Rich and Dom are driving on the highway. And I say on the highway because every other driving scene, they're already in Florence. So just to give y'all perspective.
And this is when we get more of like their dynamic, because Rich is basically like, I'm using my senses to get to the location. You have to just trust me. Please trust me, Dom. And it's just like, this is really the blonde leading the blonde, because we already know Dom don't know what the fuck she going on the map at all. I don't know per se if Rich know where he going, but Dom didn't seem too confident, and neither would I.
At all. But my thing is, Dom, if he's driving and navigating, what are you doing?
Because it's so funny, because he says that, and there's a shot of her in the back, like she seems so concerned. Like, I don't know. Like,
I love Dom and Rich, because literally they are
out to Dom and motherfucking Rich. Like, they
still be in the game because they want to be.
No shade to some of the girlies.
Okay. So we see Glenda and Lumumba have passed up Dom and Rich, and it's like, period.
Because one thing I did not want Glenda and Lumumba to go home. I did not want them to go.
Oh my God! Hello? Did you fall too, or is this the camera?
Just the camera.
We back, y'all. So Lumumba decides to do the chiseling. We see Marcus again. So Marcus is trying to get a check. He's done chiseling. Well, he thinks he's done chiseling. And he tries to get a check, and they were like,
you gotta fix the damages, babe. And when I first saw that, I was like, they are really making them do every damn thing. Like, but I feel like, honestly, like, that's the easiest part. Like, girl, if you don't chisel that shit down.
Yeah, definitely.
So all you gotta do is they give you a paste to fill into the thing, and you just scrub it. That seemed pretty easy to me.
This was one of the easier roadblocks for sure. Like, definitely just get it done.
Exactly why I will be doing it.
Exactly why you light me up inside. Okay. Molly gets her check. And she also has damage on her statue child, so she has to go back too. Sharique finally notices that chipping at the bottom quite literally will do nothing. So she has chipped the entirety of wasted time, no shade, chipped the entire bottom. And now she has to go and just chip the top, which she should have been doing. Hey, but we move. So now Molly actually gets another check. She finishes there in first place.
And
Molly
like they've been eating it up. They ate this whole mega leg up. Y'all not seeing Molly and Emily.
Y'all aren't, and that's so sad. Like they ate nasty. Because if I remember,
very nasty. Like
2 rounds ago, it was DX, Lumumba and Glenda, Sharique and Linton, Marcus, and they were at the top. Molly and Emily done surpassed all of them. Like, stay mad. So this is when we get the detour. The detour is either an eye for fashion or a window of opportunity. Eye for fashion is you're going to have to search around Florence, find 3 photo shoots, and you have to memorize the details of those models, what they're wearing, the jewelry. You have to memorize that and the location that they're at. You have to do that for 3 different sections, and then you have to go take a test and make sure that you pass and have everything lined up to who the models were at which location. Ooh. The other one is thoughts.
That just seemed like a lot. But
a lot, don't it?
Do the other
one. You want me to run around and then remember? Y'all, the way my memory is just like 0. I don't have one. I could not do that. I literally couldn't do that. So the other one, which is the one we would have been doing, is window of opportunity. You must find 3 specific windows, and they literally tell you the location. All they have to do is find them on the map. You have to find them and pick up food items. The food items are some biscotti, some soup, and some cured meat. You pick up biscotti and cured meats. You take them to the designated table. I know they're cold, so the people are not really eating them.
Right. And then that's supposed to give you a clue.
And then they give you the clue to the pit stop.
And when me and Farrell we watch, we think we're in the game. So with this one, it gives me very much. We would have had to do window of opportunity. I would have felt more confident with that. There's no way in hell I trust myself memorizing 3 photo shoots and the location. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It wasn't given that.
We'll talk about it when it gets there. But they gagged me with the fashion shit. So Molly and Emily, they decided to do the eye for fashion. Marcus finally finishes chiseling, and they also decide to do the eye for fashion. So now we have Molly and Emily and Marcus and Michael racing for the eye for fashion detour. Yeah. So we go back to Dom and Rich, and they finally.
What the crazy thing is that they left before Glenda and Lamumba. So the fact that they passed them and they still showed up like way later than Glenda and Lamumba, it's just like, wow. God. The pressure is getting worse.
Yeah. So Dom decides to go ahead and do it, and we don't get it just yet. But we finna get something from Dom, y'all. First, Marcus and Michael have figured out the first location before Molly and Emily. So now Marcus and Michael have kind of gotten a leg up from Molly and Emily. So now we go to Dom.
Oh my God.
Y'all, and it's like Dom and Sharik were competing for the person to piss me off most this episode.
Literally. And it's like, these are 2 of my favorite teams. It's like, why do y'all just get it to fucking get her? So literally, as soon as Dom goes out, she sees the sculpture. She immediately thinks, oh God, they literally expect me to carve out this perfect sculpture. This isn't what I do. I can't do this. You can't switch with me. I would rather take a 4-hour penalty. She literally gets down, walks away from the statue, goes back up to Rich and says, no, I can't do this. This is not something I can do. This is not something I can do. And it's just like, Dom, if you don't get your ass up there and complete the fucking roadblock.
Please, mind you, we have DX, no job, having ass, no shade, chiseling away. You think DX is literally chiseling out these abs? We have Michelle dancing ass. Like, be for real.
You thought she was working with 10 other artists? Be serious.
Be for
real, Dom. And it's like it sucks because she did, and then even when Rich convinced her to go back, she went up there. She's like, well, I guess, and then she's just doing a little small. And she's doing a little small hits and stuff. Because it's like, if you just try, like, be so serious. Like, I cannot believe she honestly thought she had to perfectly chisel out this sculpture. And given she didn't even read the clue, she just saw everyone else was doing it. Was like, I can't do this. I was so over it.
So Michael and Marcus, they find the first fashion show, and they decide that each of them are going to remember one model each, which is a good idea. So I saw the models. They were just wearing everything. They had underlayers. They had overalls, bitch. They had vests, necklaces. There's
no way in hell I would remember all of that.
Their hair was done a specific way. And then you have to remember the fucking scenery behind them. No thing.
I can't remember what I ate this morning. I can't remember what I ate 30 minutes ago.
I literally can't remember what I ate.
Can't remember what I just said. Models, clothes, scenery, child.
And body yaddy, like I just can't do it. So Molly and Emily, they make it after Michael and
still on their ass.
Still on their ass. They make it there and they see. Hold on. Yes, they do the same thing. But Emily is like, I have a photographic memory. So low-key, I'm finna eat this down. And it's like, why do they have random ass qualities? Because last episode, when they was doing the last roadblock at the motorbike, randomly the girl could just do motorbikes. What's that about?
It's like it really
they just have talent,
and it is because they're long lost, twin sisters. It's like they both have these attributes. They're probably just learning about each other on this show. Literally. Iconic.
I fear. Like, give them the win. I don't know. So we're back at the chisel, y'all. Dom is struggling again. So she rereads the clue, and when she rereads the clue, she says, "Oh wait,
I don't have to be Michelangelo.
And it's like,
I have to be Dom."
So now she's excited. And at least that's what I like about Dom, is that when she realizes that the game's not over, she gets back to the groove.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. Now, this other girl.
We move. I'm surprised we still not at them, but we'll get there.
We'll get
there. DX is talking to Claire. Because DX and Claire are hilarious. They are literally, and that's the thing. What I love about DX and Claire is that everyone's having fun, but they're really just having fun. Yeah. It's like when the other teams are doing bad, they kind of get very, very stressed. Now you see DX every once in a while, like, oh God, we going home. But it's like, it's in a playful way. It's really in a playful way. Like, so DX is like, girl, I'm not gonna lie, I'm making holes and chips in this. I'm not gonna lie. And Claire's like, it's okay, I support you. Like,
the guy against Claire ain't got no choice but to support, because she know how she was on these last two roadblocks. No shade.
She can't say nothing. She literally cannot say anything. So we see Sharik, and she has chipped off an entire piece of the forehead of Michelangelo. And it's like, how that happened?
How that happened, baby?
Anyways, back to Marcus and Michael. They make it to the next fashion show, the second one. And this is where I would have got gagged, because it was 3 models this time. Like, the strategy of, okay, Lee, you remember one, I remember one. That's fine. The 3 models would have been like, oh, hell.
But this is why I would immediately be like, I wouldn't be able to do it, because I have to memorize. Like, I'm sorry, there's no way I would have been able to. Like I said, memorize 3 separate photo shoots, 3 separate models, not even 3 separate models, 3 separate sets of models,
and then
with all of these different clothes. Like, there's no way in hell.
Me finding the second set of models after leaving the first set of models, I would have forgot about the first set of models. Just me trying to find the second set. Like, and this is when Molly and Emily.
Easy.
They did. I'm not gonna lie. This is when Molly and Emily pull up on their ass. So now they're like right behind them. And Molly and Emily are like, it doesn't even seem like they're remembering it right. So we definitely got this. So then this is when they start to overlap them a little bit. But we go back to the chisel. This is when Sharik gets her first check. So she asks for a check and she gets denied. She tells the checker, she's like, but I did my best to fix the forehead. I know the forehead's messed up, but I did my best. And the checker just walks away. Because it's like, girl, what you want me to say? Like,
that would have frustrated me real quick too. Like, hold on.
And this is when I think Sharik kind of felt it in her heart, because we get a montage. We get a montage, y'all. Aubry gets approved. So Aubry and David are done. Michelle gets approved. So Michelle and Luis are done. Abby gets approved. Abby and Will are done. Maddie gets approved. Oh my God.
And it's back to back to back. So she definitely feels defeated at this point, because at this point, there's only 4 teams left.
Yeah,
and she's one of them. She's in the bottom 4 at this point at this current roadblock. So I think losing her spirit at that point, I understand why it happened, but not getting it back with the events that happens, it's just like, that's where she loses me. Because I'm someone who gets frustrated too. You have Linton on the sidelines, cheering for her, and she's like, I got it, Dad. That's me. If I'm focused and I'm fucking up and I'm struggling, don't be on the sideline talking about something. You got it, dude. No, shut the hell up and let me get it. Because that, for some reason, when I'm doing an activity, other people's words, it just, I don't know. I don't like that. Like, you fucking me up. I'm in a zone. So I understand that, but you got to get up out of that, especially after you complete it. But we're going to get into that.
So Abby and Will choose to do the window of opportunity. Maddie and Quentin choose to do the window of opportunity. Luis and Michelle choose to do the window of opportunity, period. They're intelligent.
Which also seemed like the easier one.
Aubry David went for eye fashion.
I was just going to say, because, we have the leaderboard on the thing. Like, one of the main reasons why Marcus and Michael and Emily and Molly completed it even while doing eye fashion is because they were so far ahead. Like, it's so obvious to me that usually one is easier than the other. And it's just, I don't know. I wonder, how much does that actually affect the overall race? Like, are you choosing the hardest one or are you choosing the easier one? Because the thing, we'll see later on in the show, Rich and Dom, they choose the one I think is harder. And it's like, after being so behind, it's like, I don't know, like that decision is really important.
Yeah, it is. And DX Sinclair said it last time, like there's always like a more straightforward physical one. And then there's on the other hand, there's a more mental one where you can fuck up and you would have to go back. And I don't know, you should just choose the straightforward one. I don't know. This is when we see an alliance brewing. I don't know if it's an alliance. I don't know how Amazing Race works. But Quentin and Maddie and Louisa Michelle decide to work together. And it's like, I'm kind of thinking like, does that mean in the future they might do it again? I don't really know how all the strategy works, but they decide to work together this time at least. Which was interesting because I hadn't seen that. I haven't been on Amazing Race like that. So that was interesting. And Abby and Will are kind of right there with them. And they're like, well, one thing about us is we don't want help. We're going to do it on our own.
And this dining room was so tired from Will because it's like, we literally saw y'all not too long ago following Louisa Michelle. Like, yeah, you're not too proud to follow. Don't be acting like you just so. And look what they. I guess they ate it.
No, they ate it up this time.
I thought Aubry and David was them. They ate it up this time.
They probably mad because the last time they went with Louisa Michelle, they got lost. So that's why they did.
But my thing is the confessional game. Oh, we would never do that in the game of Amazing. Like, no, man, you did it. You did it. But that's exactly probably why, because they was like, ooh, following Louisa Michelle.
Maybe somebody else. Maybe if it was Marcus and Michael. I don't know. So
I definitely wouldn't be teaming up with no bitch on Omega Leg, I fear. I don't know. Like
Oh, and you know what? I will say the reason they said they did it is because they were so tired. And I agree with that. Like they were like, we've been out here all day.
They probably started early as fuck in the morning, and then the episode ends at nighttime. So this is definitely a full day event. Okay,
literally. Because earlier today they was carrying 80-pound blocks of cheese, and they had to do that. That was still today, y'all. Like, ooh, they been up all day. So this is when we see Molly and Emily have lapped the brothers. They make it to the third fashion show first, and then Marcus and Michael are right behind. And as they take a look, boom, 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 they all run off, and they're all looking for the sketchbook where they have to submit their answers.
It's so funny because they are definitely not working together. And it's like they're so ahead. They're so ahead. Like they really could. They're like, man, this is a race, and we will be first place.
Period. So back at the Chisel, DX finishes. So DX and Claire finally get to go off. So there's only 3 teams left at the Chisel, which is Lamumba and Glenda, Sharik and Linton, and Dom and Rich.
It's like, oh god.
Rich is
like, I was so sad because Dom and Rich and Lamumba were my 2 faves, but now 3 of my faves in the bottom, and that's the thing. There's the close right there with them. That's 4 of my faves team. Like no shade to this middle row and that Abby and Will. I didn't give a fuck about none of that 4 teams like that. Like, and it's just like it sucks because why do I only stand the chaotic flops? Like this is just a consistent thing with me, and I'm so sick of it.
So Rich is
my faves to get together next episode. They need to get back at the top of that damn leaderboard.
The opposite, maybe not the opposite, because Linton and Sharik can go. No shade. But Lamumba and Glenda.
I'm not gonna lie. Sharik's at when she was doing this episode, they almost got them off my stand list, but I still have hope. You know what I mean?
I
hanging by a thread. It's Linton. I'm in there for Linton.
I'm in there for Linton. If because that's the thing, it's scary because it's seeming if Linton and Sharik don't go home, it could be my 2 faves. Yeah, it's Fleur and then it's like, hopefully Aubry and David just fuck up. No, hey, all right.
Yeah,
like
somebody. I mean, well,
you keep saying that. So we see Rich is meditating for Dom. How Dom was meditating for Rich. I love him. Period. Pooh. And then we see Sharik. So she gets her check again, and now she's getting frustrated a little bit.
This time he tells her kind of the area that she needs to fix.
He shows her like the arm. And she's like getting a little bit frustrated. We see it here. So Will and Abby make it to their first window, get their first soup. And this is what I'm like, them not working with Louisa Michelle and them. It's kind of like, they kind of like have taken the lead above them. So that's kind of cute for them. And then we see Aubry and David make it to their first fashion show because they chose to do the fashion. And this is when I was kind of like, maybe the fashion show won't put them behind because we don't see Maddie and Quentin. We don't see Louis and Michelle. So maybe Aubry and David do have a chance. I was wrong. But that's what I was thinking. So back at the Chisel, Lamumba, Sharik, and Dom are still the last 3 people here. But Sharik finally finishes. She gets the approval, and I'm thinking, yes, y'all can work it up.
It.
Let's go to the
let's
detour.
Go.
Let's go. Let's get it done. Hey, but she says she has a diary. She says, I mean, we got it done, but at what cost?
And you know, like, and we mentioned at the beginning, you know, she mentioned she has anxiety. That's why she doesn't want to do these type of things. And then we really see it all come to fruition here because she completely shuts down after completing the roadblock, which was so confusing to me because it's like, you know, you're in third to last place. You know that these teams are not that ahead of you. You know that fucking Dom and Rich aren't that much behind you. And she even makes the comment, like Pharaoh said, we said this off camera. She's like, oh, we did it, but at what cost? What do you mean at what cost? It's a race. It's not a dilemma here. It's not a choice that you have to make. Like, you're in a current race that's still ongoing. The first place hasn't even been determined yet. You know what I mean? So it's just
that's what I said. Like, they got finished. They made it to the detour before first place even was cashed in. So they really had a chance. So Sharik and Linton choose. Well, Linton. From here on, it's just Linton.
And it sucks because Sharik and Linton was a really good team. And it's because, you know, it's duos. You have to work together. From this point on, Sharik doesn't even put in any effort. And it's like, it's so dumb because, you know, as you can see, she ended up getting second to last with her father. And honestly, they probably could have passed up La Mama and Glinda or DX.
Maybe even DX.
It was very possible.
Maybe even Aubry and David didn't get finished that quick either.
It was really not that impossible.
And it's different. It's, in my opinion, it's different from not putting in work. But she not only not putting work, she drugged them back. Like, it would be different if she was like, "Okay, Dad, let's just go then."
They were nowhere
like that.
Like, we'll get into it. They were definitely on the brink of going home, just because of her personality moving forward in the episode. And it's like, that's just sad to see, especially because. You know, you're there with your dad. Like, I mean, it's just like, and it's crazy that after this moment of completing it, you still feel this down. It's like, this is not even, this is what, because that wasn't even anxiety anymore. Like, you just wanted to quit. And it's like, it made no sense to me. It really didn't.
Yeah. So Sharik, Linton chooses window of opportunity. And Sharik says, as they're walking away, Sharik is like, that's just something my dad should have done. That was just too physical. I don't know why I did that. My arms are hurting. I'm tired. You know, I don't want to do it. My dad just should have done it. Sharik says that she sets firm boundaries, and once anything goes over that boundary, she's just done. She's just done. She doesn't want to do it. And she started saying to Linton as they're walking to try to find the next location, she's just like, "Yeah, I just want to go home."
She just keeps saying that, and it's just like,
I just want to go home.
It really, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Linton tried to talk to her. He tried to kind of calm her down, like, "No, we got this. We can still do it." And she's like, "Well, Dad, I just want to go home. We really, you know, I'm just over it." So Marcus and Michael and Molly and Emily, they make it to the little sketchbook test that they have to do. So Marcus and Michael noticed that they were not paying attention to the background, to the piazzas that they needed to be paying attention to. So they don't really know which background location goes with which models. So they do their little guess and they try to get it done that way. But Molly was purposefully keeping track of the piazzas. So Molly is good. She knew what the fuck she was doing. So Marcus and Michael, they get their check. They get it wrong. Then we go to La Mama and Glinda. La Mama and Glinda get done with the chisel. So now they're in 9th place. There's only 10 teams. But they're in 9th place. So they still in it. And they choose to do the window of opportunity. And this is when Dom starts getting emotional. It kind of starts hitting Dom like we're the last team.
Yeah.
I'm the only one still doing this chisel. Everybody else has gone. So it's like, dang. But honestly, they kind of had a chance considering the last couple final events with Linton and Sharik. But,
and I think
I can see how you feel defeated.
And you know, I genuinely love Dom and Rich. And honestly, like, I mean, it sucks that they lost this round, but they're definitely not less of people because of this. And it sucks because I feel like what Dom does in these moments, she really just kind of, it's crazy because they're very positive people and they kind of express that, and they definitely do good at expressing with other people. She did it with DX. She's done it with Quentin in the past. And it's like, but when she's in that moment, she just, you know, all that negativity, it kind of comes down on her, I feel, and she just gets really emotional. I think that sets them back as a whole because they have these moments where they have to take these breaks. And it's like, that was good when they had more teams, but that's only 10 people. Like, you didn't have, like, that moment, I feel, at the marble sculpture when she kind of had that breakdown, it's like, that was not needed, girl. Like, you need to go. Especially with this is just basically carving out something. Like, you know what you're doing. Just go. Like, It sucks. It really sucks because I feel like a lot of specifically with Dom and Rich and Lit and Sharik, a lot of the reasons why they were doing so bad is mistakes that they were making themselves, not necessarily within the game, just personally.
Exactly. So after this, we see Molly and Emily. They get a check for their sketchbook and they get it right. So they already have to go to the pit stop. They just have to race on foot to the pit stop. They're gone. After this, Michael and Marcus, they get their second check. They get it right. So Molly and Emily are in first place. They pull up on Phil. They make it to the mat. And Phil is like, what's good? Molly and Emily, you guys are first place. Boom, Marcus and Michael pull up. Marcus and Michael, you guys are second place. And Marcus and Michael are looking kind of like defeated and feel like I ain't never seen nobody on a mega leg mad at second place.
Like, but if you can tell, Marcus and Michael are just one of the people who like they want to be first. Like it gives very second much like second loser. Is the first loser. Abby Lee Miller said motherfucking best, bitch. The first loser. So I want to say quick sidebar. Like that is my first time hearing that. Abby Lee Miller, mind you, Abby Lee Miller is telling this to 10-year-olds in her dance studio. Second place is the first loser. If you're not first like Maddie, bitch, you're nothing.
Literally. So, not like Maddie, Louisa Michelle, and Maddie and Quentin, because they linked up. They're teamed up and they get their soup. So they get their first location. Luis talks about how the reason they teamed up is because he's just so exhausted. And we see a scene of them like rocking through the street. They bumping into bikers, y'all. They falling over each other. And it's like, y'all are exhausted, child. I honestly get it. We flash to Aubry and David. And this is when I was like, maybe Aubry and David can get it. Because they're at their second fashion show. So it's like, okay. I was wrong. Abby and Will, they make it to their second window. So they finally got their cured meats. They just got one more window to go. Back to Louisa Michelle and Quentin and Maddie. They make it to their second window. They got their cured meats. They have one more to go. Then we see Abby and Will get their third window. They're biscotti and they're ready to go and get their motherfucking pit stop. I know that's the fuck right. Then we go back to Linton and Sharik. Change moods, y'all. Sharik is still saying she wants to go home. Linton is trying to get directions. Linton is trying to ask for help. And Sharik's like, I mean, I just want to go. And he's over here rubbing her, asking for directions. Like trying to comfort her. Okay, is it here? She's I just want to go. He's like, it's okay. And it's like, damn, like this man has to do a lot right now.
You can literally tell like they spent a lot of time just being probably lost and not being able to get there. And if she would have just, been in the game, I'm pretty sure they could have quickly found the detour spot.
Because they weren't even running. They were walking.
They were walking because she wanted to go home.
She's literally standing there like, you can go look for a location. I'll just wait. Please be for real. Please be serious. So Aubry and David make it to their third fashion show location. So they're getting up towards the end of this race. DX and Claire, they still make it to their first window. And this is when I realized, like, dang, DX and Claire, low key, if Linton and Sharik was on there, like if other people was doing shit, it could have been getting scary for DX and Claire. They barely
literally.
Aubry and David,
Linton and Sharik should have been at their first window by now. Like they should have been at the detour, and I think they would have been if she just did not quit. Like mentally, just quit.
Literally. So Aubry and David make it to the fashion show test, so they have to take their test now. And this is when Claire and DX make it to their second window. And they got their soup, so they just got one more window to go. Boom. So Abby and Will, they turn in their food. They head to their pit stop. They're in third place. They're ready to get this shit popping. Quentin, Maddie, Michael, and Luis, they make it to turn in their food. They get their pit stop. So they're all racing to the finish line currently. And then we see Aubry and David pass their quiz and they're in sixth place. So a lot of teams are finna check in. And
very quickly.
I noticed on Amazing Race, there's always this one segment of the race where a few teams just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then it leaves like the stragglers at the end. And it's like, ooh.
It's like, it's the race to see who gets it.
So Dom is crying at this point. She's apologizing. She says she's not going to stop. She's going to keep going. And this is when she finally passes the chisel. So she finally passes the chisel and they go and they choose their detour and they choose the fashion show. And it's like, ooh, that might have been a mistake. Because if they would have chose the food, I feel like, because they wouldn't have had to go back. They had to go back with the fashion go check again. So it's like, they should have really just chose the food. We moved.
And it's like, I think just seeing how they've been in the challenges, they really did not need to pick a detour that had the potential of them having to go back and check. Like a straightforward one, like window of opportunity would have been good for them because there's no way you can fuck that up. Knowing them, they probably would have dropped something. But hey, you know what I mean? That's better than going all the way to one location and have to run all the way back and talk to the other.
Literally. So third place, Abby and Will check in, and Phil is like, Phil low-key is shady. Because he was like, is this the highest y'all have gotten? And they were like, yeah, 6 is the highest we've gotten. So, and he's like, okay, congratulations, you're the third place. We flash. I know, right? You're so shady. We flash and we see DX and Claire. DX and Claire get their last food. They just have to head to serve the food to the people. And then we see the check-ins between Luis, Michelle, and Quentin and Maddie. They get 4th place. Quentin and Maddie get 5th place. And then we see Aubry and David come. They get 6th place. So that means 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. There's only 4 teams who haven't checked in. Get to it, Buki.
It's bad. And it's like I said, it's all my faves. It's literally all of my faves. Like, I don't want anybody to go. Like, I guess I was fine with Team Jamaica letting Sharik going because Sharik was literally being a crybaby, no shade. I'm sorry. Like, and I feel bad that we kind of trashed her this episode because I really, really, first of all, love a black woman from infinity to infinity, no matter what happens, period. She's still mother at the end of the day. I don't give a fuck. She quit and what? But it really does suck to see because honestly, I feel like I've had scenarios like that. Like she reminded me of like my sister in that scenario, my mama in that scenario, one of my friends. It's just like, I hate seeing that because it's like they were doing so good. And it's just like,
Hopefully, I'm just hoping for the best because it was to the point, y'all, where at this point, near this point, I was rooting against them. I was like, please lose. Please lose.
Because she doesn't want to be there. I mean, give my sisters Diamond Rich another chance.
Literally, we're going to get to it. So, LaMama and Glinda, they get to their first window. They're still
in the game. Still positive. They got into their first window. In the game. Still doing what the fuck they need to do.
They're drenched in sweat, tired, because they were coming from behind. They had to run this whole time.
Mind you, they started this mega leg in the first heat and have been at the bottom since the end of the last episode. Since the first roadblock. They've been in the bottom and they're still trucking along and still going. That's how you gotta do it.
And it's like, how did they get their first window before Sharik and girl? So then Sharik says she doesn't want to walk no more, tells her dad to just look for directions. We move along. Claire and DX, they turn in their food and they're currently in 7th place. So Glinda and Lumumba, they get to their second of 3 windows, and it's like, where is Linton and Sharik?
And at this point, I'm like, they're losing. They're going to lose. And like I said, there's no way I feel like they would not have been at that detour if Sharik was actually being an active player at this point. I think they probably could have easily passed Glinda and Lumumba by this point. Yeah, really, I agree. Honestly, but
they started looking for their food way before Glinda and Lumumba. Anyways, so DX and Claire check in. They get 7th place.
It's the lowest.
Dom and Rich make it to their first fashion show. So at this point, I'm like, okay, Dom and Rich made it to their first fashion show before Linton and Sharik make it to their first window, but quickly after Linton and Sharik make it to their first window. So it's like, damn, it's getting scary. Like, it's getting scary.
Down to the wire.
So after Claire and DX clock in, we see Dom and Rich make it to their second fashion show. We see Glinda and Lumumba turn in their food. So they're finna check in for 8th place. So they're moving along.
Still in it, period.
Still in it. So it's a race between Dom and Rich and Linton and Sharik. I just believe Dom and Rich had the harder task that they had chose. So Dom and Rich do make it to their 3rd fashion show. And Dom over here, beautiful gowns. Beautiful
black queens.
Beautiful black queen, beautiful afros. That's what they have. Let's go to the next one. They have beautiful shoes. Beautiful, like it's like she's really like remembering. I love her. I love her so much. Why did she?
She was robbed.
Per Linton and Sharik, they get their second food. Mind you, the entire time they're getting food, it's Linton walking up to the thing, getting it, and Sharik just.
No, honestly, I was like, I just know Sharik gonna drop something. She gonna just drop something. Like she literally. Just like, and it's like it's so annoying because it's like, cause they like. Overall, like quit the challenge, it would have been like she walked off set and didn't do it anymore. What made it more, I think what is kind of more annoying, the fact that she was there and just not helping her out. He's like, did you hear what something? I didn't hear it though. I wasn't paying attention.
Literally.
I don't know.
Girl.
Okay.
For real. So Dom and Rich make it to the test. And it's like they make it to the test. I'm like, okay, they're ahead. if they get it right, oh my God. And why did I think they would get it right, y'all?
I don't know why you thought that.
I don't know. They get it wrong. And they don't get it wrong once. They get it wrong twice.
And then you notice the difference with the other players when they got it wrong. They didn't have to go back out. I just think, honestly, Dom and Rich overthink and they overanalyze. And they go back and forth. Neither one of them are too sure. And that's kind of what it is. I'm someone who I am not 100% sure in anything I do. The highest I'll be is a 99.9. You see what I'm saying? So I can definitely see it. They give two people who are both just kind of unsure. So they have to go and fact check, which means they have to go back out. And it's just like, oh God.
Literally. Like, y'all, I feel like at that point I feel like if it was me, we just have to guess. We have to keep guessing. We cannot go all the way back. Like, eventually we can get it. Because we find out that all they had wrong was one of the locations. If you just switch the locations and guess, you would have got it right.
And as soon as they go back out, they catch it. So it's like, I guess they may have needed it just to light the up in their head. I don't know.
Girl. So 8th place, Glenda and Lamama check in, and they're crying and sweating. I couldn't tell if it was tears or sweat, but they're tired. And they're just happy. They're just so happy to be there. I love teams like them. I can root for Glenda and Lamama. I really can. DX and Claire. I can root for them because they're just happy to have made. And I really support that. So Linton and Sharik, they finally get their last plate of food. And this is when Dom and Rich are looking back at the outfit still, and they see what they need to change, and they're headed back to try to take the test again. But Linton and Sharik have already turned in their food, and Sharik is still complaining. At this point, she's still saying, I want to quit. Still saying, I want to go home. And they're walking literally to the pit stop. So Dom and Rich get it right, and we see Dom and Rich running, and we see Linton and Sharik on their way.
That's the Linton and Sharik are walking to the pit stop while Dom and Rich are running. I'm assuming... I feel like trying to guess the timing, Dom and Rich were probably just that far behind because it looked like from the recording they were in the same area. I don't know if this is what the build-up looked like in Italy. They all just look similar in that regard. I don't know. But it did seem like they were in the same area. So
it's giving like Linton and Sharik actually made it to the pit stop maybe 10 minutes before Dom and Rich, but it just edited it to keep it up, to keep the shit up. So we see Linton and Sharik pull up to the pit stop. And they make it. They got 9th place. And Sharik is literally on the mat. And she's on the mat and she says, whatever, I just want to go. I just want to leave. And Phil is like, I mean, do you want to leave? Because you have options. Your options are you can leave. Go ahead and quit and bow out. Or you can continue on the race.
And I was gagged. Like, I didn't know Phil was going to really test the girls like this for their face.
And Sharik is like, I mean, well, Dad, do you want to say? And Linton was like, I want to say, please be serious. He literally he was like, basically, I love The Amazing Race. I want to say, be for real. And it's like,
she's like, well, I guess I'll stay. It feels like, because Diamond Rich want to be here. And I asked Diamond Rich.
Please, Phil, please. And Phil asked her a good 4 times. That doesn't sound convincing to me. Well, you don't sound happy. Like, he kept asking until she was like, I want to be here, Phil. And it's like, girl,
for my dad, strictly for my dad.
Child. So that was the episode. I guess we'll have to see how it goes next episode. If next episode Sharik redeems herself or she's acting differently, then we can go back to standing. Hopefully Daddy DX and Mama Claire, please catch up with Daddy Lamumba, Mama Glinda. Like, girl, get above Abby.
This bottom 3 gonna have to get it back into order because they need to be right up there with Marcus and Michael and Molly and Emily. Let's go ahead and get some of these other people out. Let's go ahead and get them
out. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and comment something that you thought about this episode. How did you feel about Sharik and Linton this episode? Please be nice. Check out next week. We'll be covering The Amazing Race. We did Survivor coverage, and we also have an interview with Joseph Abden from Big Brother 24. So if you want to check that shit out, go check that shit out or whatever. Bye.